What would you do if you came face to face with God? Would you run? Would you bow down? Would you cry for mercy? One man did something no one expected. He fought, not for a few seconds, not for a few minutes, but all night long. And when the sun finally rose, he walked away wounded, limping, changed forever. This is the incredible story of Jacob, the man who wrestled God. Jacob wasn't exactly a hero. In fact, many people saw him as a deceiver. Years earlier, he had tricked his own brother Esau out of a blessing that wasn't supposed to be his. When Esau discovered what Jacob had done, his anger was so great that Jacob had no choice but to run. So he left home, left his family, left everything familiar behind, and for 20 years he stayed away. But now, God was calling him back to the place he had fled from, back to the brother he had betrayed. And Jacob feared that some wounds never truly heal. As Jacob journeyed home, he wasn't the same man who had left. He had become wealthy, he had wives, children, servants, large flocks of animals. By every measure, he was successful. But then a messenger arrived, breathless, urgent, terrified. Esau is coming to meet you. At first, Jacob felt relief, but then the messenger continued, and he has 400 men with him. 400 men. Jacob's heart sank. That wasn't a welcome party. That sounded like an army. And suddenly, all the mistakes of his past came rushing back. The lies, the deception, the stolen blessing, the guilt, everything. For 20 years, Jacob had run from his past. Now it seems his past was running toward him. Fear gripped Jacob, so he began making plans. He divided his camp into groups. If one group was attacked, perhaps the others could survive. Then he sent gifts ahead to Esau. Hundreds of animals, goats, sheep, camels, donkeys, anything that might soften his brother's heart. But then Jacob did something different, something he should have done long ago. He prayed. Not a polite prayer, not a routine prayer, a desperate prayer. God, please save me. For the first time in years, Jacob stopped depending on his own cleverness and placed his trust in God. That night, Jacob brought his family to the Jabbok River. One by one, they crossed safely. His wives crossed, his children crossed, his servants crossed, everything he loved crossed. But Jacob stayed behind, alone. No family, no friends, no protection, only darkness and silence. Then suddenly, a stranger appeared, out of nowhere. Before Jacob could react, the man grabbed him, and a fierce struggle began. They wrestled in the darkness, minute after minute, hour after hour. Neither man would surrender, neither man would quit. The battle continued through the night, as if Jacob was fighting for something far greater than victory, as if he was fighting for his future. As dawn approached, something extraordinary happened. The mysterious man reached out and touched Jacob's hip. Just one touch. Instantly, Jacob's hip was dislocated. The pain must have been unbearable. And suddenly, Jacob understood. This was no ordinary man. No human possessed such power. Jacob realized he was standing in the presence of God. Yet even then, he refused to let go. The stranger said, "Let me go, for the day is breaking." But Jacob held on tighter, through the pain, through the exhaustion, through the fear. And he declared, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." Think about that. Broken, wounded, exhausted, yet still holding on. Then the stranger asked a simple question. "What is your name?" Jacob answered, "Jacob." But his name meant more than just Jacob. It meant deceiver, manipulator, one who grasps and takes. A name that reminded him of his failures, his mistakes, his past. Then came the words that changed everything. "Your name shall no longer be Jacob. You shall be called Israel, because you have struggled with God and with men, and have prevailed." In that moment, Jacob received a new identity, a new future, a new purpose. The deceiver became Israel, and from Israel would come a nation, a people, a legacy that would change history. As the sun rose above the horizon, the stranger disappeared. The battle was over. Jacob stood alone, his body exhausted, his hip injured, but his soul transformed. He named that place Peniel, which means the face of God. Because, as Jacob later said, "I have seen God face to face, and my life was spared." Then he began walking toward his future, limping, but blessed, wounded, but stronger, afraid, but changed forever. Sometimes God changes our lives through comfort, but often he changes us through struggle. Sometimes the greatest blessing comes after the longest night. Jacob entered that night as a deceiver. He left as Israel. And perhaps that's the lesson for all of us. The struggle you're facing today,
may be the very thing God is using to transform your tomorrow. What do you think Jacob learned on the night he wrestled God? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more powerful Bible stories brought to life. Until next time, God bless.